It was a cold, bone-chilling November evening. London sprawled out across the sky, a gray monster ready to swallow itself. Liam and Ryan, 23 and 26 years old, were two homeless souls trying to make it to the next day on the city's cruel streets. Every night, their search for a place to rest their heads dragged them with tired, weary steps into the dark and forgotten arteries beneath the city, the underpasses. Their stop tonight was an old passage beneath Waterloo Station, once used as a wool depot. The roaring sound of the metal rails above created a drone in the damp, moldy walls of the passage, as if the city's heart was thundering deep within the concrete. Liam, the younger of the two, had not yet lost his fresh hopes, but Ryan's exhaustion was contagious. The sparkle in his eyes had long since faded. "Ryan, it smells so bad here, doesn't it? Like a mix of rotten meat and sewage. It's like something died here and no one cared. We feel like we've disturbed something," Liam whispered, his voice trembling from the cold, his eyes fixed on the darkness. Ryan pulled his thick, dirty beanie tighter over his head. "I don't care about the smell, Liam. There's no wind. The night is freezing outside. We'll freeze to death. We won't freeze tonight. We're here to survive. Be quiet and try to rest a little. Survival is all that matters." The surrounding concrete walls were covered in grime, rust, and strange, incomprehensible symbols, thickened by time. Old faded reds, inverted pentagrams drawn side by side, sharp-edged triangles, nested circles, and shapes resembling bizarre predatory animal heads. Ryan saw them. He had been on the streets for years and knew such markings always brought bad luck, recalling strange events in similar places in the past, but his desperation forced him to ignore them. Liam, however, constantly looked at the walls, his eyes trying to make sense of the symbols, as if they were whispering to him. They spread two old, torn blankets on the ground and leaned their backs against the icy concrete. Sleeping was nearly impossible here. The cold penetrated every fiber of their being. Liam shivered, his body convulsing uncontrollably. The hours passed midnight, then 1... and it was 3. The sound of the underpass changed. The rumble of the trains diminished, replaced by a strange, thick, dense silence. This was not an ordinary silence. It was a pressure that thickened the air, stifled the breath, and weighed heavily on the chest. Their eyelids were heavy, but their minds were awake, refusing sleep. "Are you asleep, Ryan?" Liam asked, his voice a trembling whisper, thinned by fear. Ryan didn't answer, but Liam knew he wasn't sleeping, sensing the tension and muscle spasms in the body lying next to him. The whispers, ... "Ryan, do you hear them? They're starting again. They're telling me things. They know my name." Ryan initially thought he was just hearing the throbbing of his own blood in his ears. Perhaps his tired brain was playing tricks. Then, yes, deep down, he heard layered, incomprehensible sounds echoing within the metal. It was like a choir of hundreds whispering at once, yet not a single word could be distinguished. The sounds were like a waterfall, but composed of words, agony, and curses. It seemed to make the deepest corners of his soul tremble. Liam suddenly hugged his blanket tighter. "They're laughing at me, ... Mocking me, Ryan. They know how pathetic I am, how worthless I am. It's like they can see inside, like they've always been right here with us." His eyes were tearing up, but he had no strength left to cry. Ryan grabbed Liam's arm fiercely, his fingers digging into the bone. "Calm down, Liam. That's just the acoustics of the underpass. Concrete and metal distort every sound. It's the old echoes of the wool depot. You're having a bad dream. Calm down. Everything will pass." But when the whispers stopped, they were replaced by something far more terrifying. A ticking, a rhythmic, dry, thin clicking came from the darkness toward the tunnel entrance, where the two friends lay. It was as if someone's long, bony fingernails were scratching the smooth concrete floor. As the sound slowly approached, the cold intensified, filling the air with ice. Ryan's breath seemed to turn to frost. Liam was utterly breathless, lying like a corpse, unable to close his eyes. The ticking stopped when it reached the symbols on the wall. At that moment they saw the old paint, rust, and grime on the wall stirring, flowing. The red, brown, and black pigments slowly defied gravity, mixing together to form a large, distorted, terrifying eye shape on the wall. This eye stared into their desperation, their poverty, and their fears. It seemed to penetrate the depths of their souls, exposing all their secrets. A choked sob escaped Liam. It sees me. It chose me. It knows, Ryan. It knows how finished I am, that I have nothing left in this world." Liam's voice no longer contained fear, but a kind of insanity-driven admiration. Ryan was paralyzed with terror, his whole body frozen, but with a brotherly instinct, he sprang up. He grabbed an old, broken wine bottle and threw it at the shape on the wall. The glass hit the wall with a wet, soft thud, but the shape did not break. Instead, it became even more distinct. At that moment, the ticking was replaced by a scream. But the scream was not the voice of a single human. It was the common, cacophonous shriek of hundreds of souls in different frequencies, drowned, burned, suffering, full of rage. The shriek vibrated all the air in the passage, straining Ryan's eardrums. The dirt and dust on the floor rose into the air with these sound vibrations, as if the earth's crust were cracking. Ryan tried to drag Liam away in agony. "We have to go, Liam. This place is cursed. For God's sake, it's cursed. We have to leave." No, let go of me." Liam resisted with incredible strength, as if a completely different energy had flowed into his body. "I must speak to it. It will offer me something. It will give me a chance. Let me go, Ryan." Liam began to crawl towards the distorted eye on the wall. "I know. You'll give me my life back. You'll save me from this poverty, from this cold. You'll make me human again. Don't be ridiculous, Liam. This is a demon. This is a demon. It won't help you. It will possess you." Ryan grabbed him by the blanket and pulled him toward himself. But Liam's eyes no longer belonged to him. They glowed with a dark, icy, greedy delight. The desperation born of poverty in his eyes had been replaced by an incomprehensible ambition. It spoke to me. I heard its name. Zagan, the great Prince Zagan. He is the demon of transformation, you know, Ryan? He can turn everything into gold, make the foolish wise. He'll give me a chance, Ryan, you know. But in return, he wants a friend. He wants a pledge of loyalty, a sacrifice. You're my only friend, Ryan ... double quotes. Liam's voice grew deeper, more incomprehensible, yet more persuasive. Driven by the madness of despair, Liam pushed Ryan with incredible force. Ryan slammed into the concrete floor, hitting his head hard. His brain throbbed. Liam was crawling towards the distorted eye on the wall. "Take me, Zagan. I am worthy of you. My soul is already rotten. I'll give you everything, whatever you want." As Ryan tried to straighten up through the throbbing pain in his head, a force that felt not like wind, but like a beast's breath, blew from the other end of the tunnel where the tracks lay. It brought with it the smell of rotten flesh, burnt sulfur, wet snakeskin, and 1,000-year-old mold. The weak lamp on the ceiling of the passage flickered one last time and burst. Everywhere was absolute pitch darkness. That darkness was sucking up all the light, hope, and life. Ryan screamed Liam's name in the blind darkness. Only Liam's muffled, self-whispered, ancient Latin murmur could be heard. It was as if these words came from thousands of years ago. Then a bone sound was heard. Snap, a sharp, dry, cracking sound. This was followed by a gasp of finality. One more whisper, and then silence. Absolute, freezing silence. Something passed in the darkness. Fast, silent, and cold. Whatever hit Ryan's face felt like a dry tuft of feather or a thin, bony claw. Ryan screamed in horror. His eyes saw the ghosts of burning lamps, but he could see nothing. A few minutes later, the tranquility returned. Metro Line's first train rumbled overhead. Ryan, trembling, found his lighter. He hesitantly lit it. The flame illuminated the surroundings with a tremor. Liam was motionless at the base of the wall. His eyes were open but empty, as if staring at the stars. His neck was twisted at an impossible, grotesque angle. There was no blood, but his body. His body seemed to have shriveled inwards, his skin pale and wrinkled. But that wasn't the most horrifying thing. The chalky, distorted eye shape on the wall was gone. In its place there was something fresh and wet. Right next to Liam, a complex geometric symbol, one of Zagan's sigils, had been freshly carved into the concrete. And right in the center, a fresh stain of blood, leaking from Liam's neck, glowed as if actively feeding the symbol. Ryan abandoned his blanket, his bottle, and his broken hopes, and ran. He reached the underpass exit. As he climbed the stairs, he heard one last whisper. This whisper was neither Latin nor the roar of Prince Zagan. It was Liam's own voice, coming right next to Ryan's ear. "I'm not cold anymore, Ryan," he kept his word. "I'm warm and free." Ryan left the cold, dark secret of the underpass behind and melted into the never-ending crowd of London. The weight of his friend's death was chained to his soul. He knew now that the city's depths were not just filled with trash and tracks. Sometimes a demonic prince also waited in the darkness, offering warmth and temporary salvation in exchange for a bargain, a soul, and a friendship. Ryan could never sleep alone again, and he could never forget the thin, feathery touch on the back of his neck. The rest of his life would be spent in the shadow of that silent contract, knowing he had purchased his freedom at the cost of a sacrifice. We've come to the end of this story. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the videos. Take care and see you in the next story.